Are we in it? Gary, you're muted.
Gary, unmute yourself.
How did he lose his audio in just the time that it took to do the countdown?
Good question.
John, hello, sir. Alpha Charlie Concepts. Flex and Riffs. TJ, if you hear in the background, there might be some music that comes through on my microphone because there's a band practicing in my basement. This is so fascinating. We get to, like right at the beginning of the live chat, we get to watch Gary fix technical issues, which is totally his strong suit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Back up to 100%. All right, is this thing working?
It's
It
working.
is.
Look at that. Managed to hot swap out my mic, the transmitter.
Wow. Did the battery die?
Yep. It's been sitting with this last week's live chat.
That's what happens.
What a perfect time for it, too.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't have happened while we were chatting before this started.
No, it's just amazing. It did it right in that 30-second intro.
Well, I'm glad you guys have welcomed everybody. Tonight's sponsor, not to cut them short, is 4D Tactical. Fine manufacturers of helmet pads and these nifty soft caps that Mike and I are currently wearing.
Yes. Fashionable.
Very fashionable. In colors that they don't even sell.
They don't sell this one?
Nope.
Oh, even more special.
The what did he say? There was like a half a dozen or so tiger stripe ones.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, but I know there's only one AOR2.
Yes, just the one AOR2.
Yep.
That's what you get when you got the hookup.
Now, Max says we both look so damn cool, and that makes me believe him less.
Yeah. His last name's also not really Pass. All right, so we got the sponsor taken care of. I'll keep wearing this hat because it is the most comfortable thing I've ever worn on my head.
They are pretty great. I'm a big fan. The helmet pads are awesome too.
Yes. I will say for the helmet pads, I did find out when we did our night vision study group that if you take the helmet off and leave it out in like 18-degree weather, the pads get really firm and you got to warm them up before they'll conform to your head again.
Right.
That was something. Full video coming at some point. Did you do a video on yours?
On the helmet pads?
No, on any 4D anything.
I did the helmet pad video.
All right, right on.
Yeah. Big fan.
I as well. All right, so we'll get the other housekeeping shit out of the way. On the Tremis Dynamics front, added a bunch of new Patreon levels that include free training days if you sign up for them. They are live over on Patreon, including I added 2 of the Warrior Lodge memberships where you pay $100 a month and you can come to every class that there is for no tuition, absolutely free.
Wow.
It took 6 minutes for both of those 2 I added to sell out, so they're gone. So that was the big news there, and we have 2 slots left for this weekend's master class down at the Ben Franklin Range. I guess I could throw a link up for that since I have it here in my notes.
It's going to be a good time. Got some good people going out there.
Some all right ones.
All the way out to Templeton, Pennsylvania.
Gonna go shoot into the dark.
just blindly, like just wherever there's
Yep.
dark. Cacao.
Let's see what else we got. We did the final bug out last week. That went well. Bug the fuck out number 20. We almost killed Becker, but otherwise it went pretty stellarly.
How the hell did you guys do that?
Well, we have this portion we call the fucking goat path, and it's I describe it not as like a hill in Afghanistan, but a hill when they film a movie and they want you to think it's in Afghanistan. And by the time Becker got to the top of it, he wasn't feeling so well. That continued on for the rest of the trip, to be followed by a couple hours after he got home, being at the hospital diagnosed with ketoacidosis.
Mm.
They pumped him full of fluids, and now he feels tip-top.
Sounds good.
I told him we would give him a Camelback enema if he needed fluids. We're gonna save that for this weekend.
Probably had a lower copay than what he wound up paying.
Probably. So, yep, that's all that stuff. Tonight's wonderful co-host, obviously you can see I have Mike Fiore from Bulletin.net, and sometimes Tremis Dynamics whenever he gets a wild hair up his butt and wants to teach stuff. And our special guest tonight, Sonny Puzikas of Gospel of Violence is what it says there. The podcast that is the most violent on the interwebs. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, hello.
Hello, sirs.
Sirs.
I was hoping we were going to have thousands of good questions, but I got a couple. They don't seem like they're too bad, but I figure Mike's here. He'll lead us into some sort of interesting conversation.
Oh, that's on me?
Yeah, sure. You can talk about the cameraman you almost killed. Tom Hollyby mentioned it.
Oh, yes. We could totally talk about that.
That would be good. I see Turtle is in the house. I went out and shot Turtle's rifle today. That's the one over this shoulder over here. Performed quite well. Got a pretty decent 0 on it. It'll be at the master class along with that rifle over here. If anybody wants to use it this weekend.
Me.
So, yeah. Anybody else in the house that mentioned any topics yet? Miserable Becker, I mentioned that. Crystal's here. Adam.
TJ's pumped for an 8-hour drive.
Oh, he likes driving.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to drive in a Toyota. It's like its own little vacation. Sorry, let's delve right into that first topic that Tom brought up. Mike almost shot a cameraman.
Oh, yes. Well, I guess I'm dangerous. What can I say?
So this happened at contractor class at Tactical Response, correct?
Yep, I was taking the HRCC sampler class, and which was awesome, by the way. The one of the blocks of instruction on one of the days was some CQB, live fire, and that culminates in some kind of grows and drills. You get a little bit more advanced throughout the day, and so I was doing the drill. We had somebody filming it in the room, and go figure, that person didn't have a gun pointed at them, so they wound up not getting shot. Just strange how that happens. And we did a pretty good run, I think. The internet lost its shit, because apparently that's what they do when they see downrange photographers.
Well, weird. They didn't actually see the downrange photographer.
No, it could have been on a tripod, but
could have been. I went and watched the video and went, "Oh, I know a couple of those guys. Hey, why is the number 2 guy so slow getting in the room?" That was it. That was my whole criticism.
Yeah,
was on Ethan.
I took a lot of hits on topics because I had hit my corner and then scanned the rest of the room and took shots in a safe direction, towards the other side of the room, which didn't have any friendlies in it. And then all of a sudden, I'm terrible, inhumane, I'm dangerous. I perform dangerous acts. I shouldn't train with those types of people. You know, all the things that those keyboard warriors love to say. And yeah, so that and a lot of comments about how big I was. You know, because that really matters.
Well, they probably just wanted you to know because you weren't aware.
No, you know what? I wasn't. Not until the day that all those people called me a Gravy Seal and or a Meal Team 6 operator. And totally, you know what? I was blind. I was blind to it. Totally didn't realize it.
Did you call home and be like, honey, what size pants do you buy me?
How could you have never told me that I was in the husky section?
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun. The internet is full of fun people.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say then, welcome to the club. I think Sonny and I both have had a fair share of internet fans.
Oh, yeah. I think I have a hater now. Like, there's a guy who made like 25 posts on that one Instagram video, and I was actually kind of like, all right, I could be gaining some traction. That means I'm doing something right. If there's people out there who hate me,
right on.
All right, Grasshopper. You still have a lot to cover.
Well, that's why I hang out with you guys. I learned from the masters.
Yeah.
It's like you opened the door to the clubhouse and we were like, hey, Mike's here.
Mike, just next time you do something like that, have my t-shirt on and watch the comments triple.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
Oh, I was going to wear a t-shirt, a Sonny t-shirt today. Shit. I am wearing this cool Harry's Cletus bourbon t-shirt in the mail today from Joe and Burkell.
Our new t-shirts should be on the website sometime this week.
Nice.
Are you going to have some of those to bring with you there on your trip to PA in the summer?
If they don't sell out, I will. And if they sell out, I'll see if I can make another run.
Perfect.
I bet you'd probably sell, a bunch of those.
Or at least a few.
A few. Yeah.
At least a few, yeah.
You have some fans up here. It's pretty apparent.
I mean, besides just us two.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to know because when you have so many haters, I kind of need a little blanket of people that love me and shit, because otherwise I would just have sleepless nights.
Yeah, I haven't slept since I got home. Since I saw those.
You look that way, Mike.
Yeah,
you look that way.
Since I saw the comments, I've just been wringing my hands.
I'm sure.
Checking the comments.
We got a good number of people here. All my favorites.
Yep. 21, huh? Sonny brought him in. We normally have like 6.
Yeah. Look, even Crystal came. She can moderate and do links and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think Crystal just expects me to say something controversial where everyone will cringe and
Well, I mean, I can't say I was banking on it, but I did have a week to prepare some sort of topic to really set the internet on fire, and I didn't. Kind of just let those happen on their own.
Oh, there's plenty, man. I posted, the thing about extra magazines and all that stuff, and I got some, very well thought out, very well, how would I say, people put their time into writing the reasons why this is not such a big deal, why, because of statistics and on and on. So I kind of dwelled into reading those comments and trying to be unbiased and everything, and don't call people names, but I think I'm going to be doing video with names.
Oh, nice.
Call them out.
No, it's not about calling out. It's just the whole thing that statistics of that. Yes, statistically you're more likely to treat a broken hand during some car accident than you have to change the magazine in a gunfight. The difference in the severity of the outcome if you don't have extra magazine versus you not being able to splinter someone's broken arm, I submit to you there is different gravitas there, if you will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Agreed. Yeah, it's. I mean, if we're going on statistics, we shouldn't bother carrying a gun at all. Like one folding knife to open Amazon packages would cover just about most of my daily needs.
It's like, statistically, if you look at all the people that we have commenting now or commenting on my posts specifically on that topic, if I asked them, when was the last time you were in any fight, not gunfight, any fight, statistical percentages of that would be, fraction of a percent. So I guess our training industry exists for fucking nothing.
Yeah,
Because
we should just
statistically,
go get different jobs.
I think I'm gonna be I don't know. I lost some weight here during this week, not eating anything for the. Once I think I'll just go turn tricks on the corner. I think.
Your microphone broke up there a bit, Sonny, but it caught the important part at the end of turning tricks at the corner.
That's the only thing.
Cut out again as well. But
Yeah.
Here's the thing: like, while I can picture in my head Sonny out on the corner trying to lure some sailor in, I'm more interested in my own thought exercise of trying to picture the person who's coming over when he waves them in. What's that guy look like? I maybe it's not a guy.
Why not both?
Why not on the same dude? I hear they do that in Texas now. Like they can operate and give you one and keep the other one.
Cool. Yeah, we this past weekend we had a class with one guy, partial Italian, partial Laotian. So I've drilled. There was a lot of jokes about bank cock. And
oh, Sonny, your mic's cutting out something fierce.
Is that right?
And we see you talk, and then the word cock shows up.
Yeah, all we hear is like something fierce, Laotian, bang, cock. I mean, we're getting the gist.
Getting the gist. I see that.
Yeah, key syllables are coming through.
Hold on, I'm trying to stuff here.
Mike, it'll be your turn next to have a microphone problem.
Probably. This is the first time I'm trying the like my podcast mic while we're on a live thing because it picks up the background noise a lot less than like my computer camera.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? Maybe not everybody would enjoy the constant drum beat of the song playing downstairs over and over again because they just keep practicing the same song.
Well, if they were doing like a final rehearsal.
Yeah.
Now, can you guys hear me okay?
It still looks pretty disconnected from your mouth. Like we heard maybe a word and then saw you talking.
That sucks.
Why don't you try leaving the stream and coming back in?
All right. And then come back.
We'll see you in a few.
We'll hold the fort down.
Yeah. I got rear security.
Tim Morris just said, man.
TJ, yes, I could use your help in soundproofing my house. So whatever Roxol is, I'm sure that would be handy. See, yeah, Sam Russell. Sonny was talking about the Thai dude in class this weekend from Bangkok. We got it.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
Sometimes you just got to turn it off and turn it back on.
Russian collusion things, they always get fucking blasted, you know?
Hmm.
All right. Got to move the router to the other side of the room. I'm holding up like a clothes hanger antenna over here.
Is that the same side of the room that you put the cameraman on, so that you don't sweep him when you're, or you don't point a gun at him?
I'm pointing a gun at him.
You're shooting towards him. No, he didn't get shot, did he?
So interesting. I did have a conversation. This was a couple weeks back about the idea of pointing guns at people, and Rule 4 violation, blah 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 blah, and it should always. I know we're getting into danger words. Always consider all guns as if they're always loaded.
Oh, there's so many absolutes in that one phrase.
And like something that came up, I said, well, we do these classes with force on force guns, with running UTMs, and we point them at each other on purpose. Like there's no incidental muzzling someone. Like we're on purpose pointing the muzzle at them, and the gears ground to a halt. And that, but I'm like, well, if I got to treat it like it's loaded, I don't want to point that at my friends and my students, but it's force on force, and I need to point it at my friends and my students. There was no good answer from them. It was just a grind to the halt. And
yeah, probably some gears crunching because they're like, no, there's a doctrine and a recited phrase that it goes against in my head that I can't ever change. I know we're speaking Sonny's language on this.
No, this is my holy week, man. I'm not saying too many bad things. I'm being like,
well,
what I mean?
That actually ties into one of the questions.
Okay.
There was 3 questions. One's a 2-parter, but the standalone question was. Let me scroll down on my notes. This is relevant to last week's live chat and your activities today. What is and I don't know how to pronounce this, liturgy? Liturgy
is basically a mass.
Okay. Somebody read your comment, and I had said, I don't even know what that is. And then they said, what is it?
In Orthodox Mass referred to as the Holy Liturgy.
Okay. I like learning new words. And obviously, I don't speak to anyone that uses that word, but I have read the word, so I didn't know how to pronounce it. Somebody told me once that when you talk to someone and they mispronounce words frequently, it usually shows that they're well read because they're reading things that they don't get a chance to speak about. And I was like, or you're Tim Morris.
Either way, it's nice.
Either way, you're on top, baby.
Yep. In one way or the other.
I do believe that Tim Morris's nickname for Sonny is Sonny Palooza.
Well, he kind of borrowed it from God rest his soul, James. So that's what James used to call me when I would come in there. He goes, "This is my friend, Sonny Palooza."
I like it. I think that should be like an event.
Sonny Palooza. It's probably going to be after I die.
Wow.
It'd be a great T-shirt, like a Lollapalooza Sonny themed T-shirt.
You could do like tour dates on the back, or like tour cities, like where has Sonny Palooza been in 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Just giving you some ideas there. I don't have a Palooza.
I'm filing it away.
Hey, Sonny, I actually have a question for you, based off of the topics we touched on. I know you're both a religious man and a big proponent of kind of expelling dogma. Do you ever find those two things to be at odds with each other?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know, Mike, this is something that I'm guessing, if we are to have this conversation in depth, it's probably going to be in Gary's living room a few months from now, and it's probably going to be going on at 3 a.m. But
I'm in.
in short, it's like this. Yes, I'm a religious man. I'm a man of faith. And as far as I'm concerned, what comes from that book, although we may not understand a lot of things, how can three be one, one be three? How can people die and then be resurrected, and
Right.
and all that stuff? Uh, to me, I have a very clear distinction between what is in my faith considered the word of God and what some douchebag on internet says as far as dogmatic training that treat every gun as if it's loaded or no one should be with the camera downrange
Right.
or I don't fucking know. I mean, if I point this here Glock at everybody, at all of you 300 miles away, I endangered you all.
Right.
So no, I separate those two very, very, it's a big distinction. And even within the church, within the canons of the church, the word dogma is used as, and that is referring to undeniable truths because they came from God.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole gospel of violence thinks it's actual anti-gospel because, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one gospel, and
Sure.
and none of the tactical bros, including myself, have written it. So
No, I think that's a great distinction because it's almost like it cheapens the word to try and call what people cling on to as dogma, because the religious world has dogma and it means something, whereas like in what we come across, like people hold on to these like written in stone testaments, and really they're just ideas made by dudes. Like it's just
I'll go a little bit further, Mike. These are ideas that are, I will say like this, that the backers and fanatics of those ideas are untested.
hmm
Some people will go like, "What do you mean? I mean, people have been in gunfights, people have gone to wars, and all that stuff, right?" Well, let me just say this: that in 40 years since that carpenter kid, otherwise known as Jesus, has died, 12 of his disciples, every single one of them died for the faith, for that dogma. I would like to ask a lot of the dogma supporters of this dogma from this school or that instructor, would you fucking die for your beliefs? And I'll just leave it there.
yeah. And that's why I love talking to you, because you're the king of the last word. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to think about that for a while.
Sonny, the mic drop Puzikas.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason that at the muster I always have you headline at the end, because I'm like, who wants to follow that?
Nobody, no. Put me on the. I like being first. Complete opposite side of the ticket. I'm the warm up guy.
It kind of puts a pressure on me, but also it removes the pressure because I know that everything is done. I can insult people, I can hurt people, I can talk shit. I mean, it's the end of the story, right? So
Yeah.
even if I hurt him at the end, at least they hurt everyone that went before me, and I didn't. If I went on at 11 a.m. and I said some shit that I say, people would get butt hurt and leave, and then it would not have a chance to hear other presenters. So it works out. It
hmm
works out.
Indeed, indeed. Uh, I'm going to totally put you on the spot. Have you been putting any thought into what you want to do at this year's muster?
Oh shit! Give me some suggestions, Gary. I was thinking about few things, but I would like to hear your thoughts. What do you think would
Well,
be a ticklish issue to address?
you have the option, if you want, of doing something outside on the range portion. Uh, but while I think everybody really needs to get a taste of you in that venue, I really think everyone, well, I should say, I personally enjoy hearing you talk. Uh, about whatever subjects you come up with. So I'm a big fan of the not outside, uh, especially since we're going to do a bunch of hands-on stuff the previous 4 days. So I think I'll be ready for some
Yeah,
for
you know,
philosophical.
yeah, I think that would be. I'll agree with you, Gary. I think that would be better, and here's why. Uh, you know, when you get people to the range or on the mats or whatever else for that matter, right? When it's time to learn and train, it's a process for one that it needs to be immersive, and in 1 hour there's very little of it you can do. Even hurting people, unless they just punched everybody for an hour or whatnot, it's limited how much you can dish out in an hour, especially if you have 100 people there. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I wouldn't even have a full minute with everybody. And, and at the end of it, my fists would be swollen and hurting. And that's just, I'm too fucking old for that shit. But I think I, over time, developed fairly decent skills on giving people headaches. And so I think I'm going to pick up pick a good topic, and I tell you what, I'll give you a couple of choices. How about this? On not being an infant with the chainsaw, um and this is something that I actually just did a class after about 15 or 17 years of not doing a single class that was geared towards women. But hear me out on this. Fight like a girl, gender neutral asymmetry of warfare.
I think that would be a big hit.
Me
I
too.
think I think that would be a good big hit because here's the thing. So I taught that girl fighting class at SRF,
SRF.
yeah, in Camden at John Willis's place, right? And half the people that attended the class were not ladies; it was dudes, including Andrew. Andrew attended the class.
I like that guy.
Me too. I kind of like that guy.
He's got chick's hair.
True that, and his skin is pretty soft. Oh wait. Anyway, uh, you know the disparity of capabilities, it's not dependent on just gender.
Hmm.
It can be because of your age, it can be because of your physical conditioning, of skills that you worked or haven't worked on. And we always think that there's going to be this, well, he punches, I punch, it's relatively close. No, sometimes the disparity can be x3, x4 difference between the two dudes. And if you don't have something else to counteract and balance it out, guess what? You're basically like a girl in the fight. You being outmuscled, you being, whatever other attributes the other fella possesses, and they're way beyond your level. You have to come up with something to counteract that, because you probably at that moment of the fight, you don't have time to bench press and gain enough power to match his striking power. So I'll think about it. We'll talk about it off behind the curtain, so to speak, Gary. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally
I'll,
just threw you on the spot because, well, that's what I do.
No prep, just questions.
First video I did with Aaron Little, he was like, "What are we going to talk about?" I said, "Once the camera's rolling, I'll let you know." And he just nodded his head like, "Okay, thanks, man."
yeah,
Uh, we need to get
sounds
him.
reasonable.
Uh, Speaking of the muster, one of Sonny's students back here. I'm looking back up to see who it was. Bart, is that Bart?
Yeah, yeah, Bart Stewart.
I say I don't think I know Bart.
No, you haven't met Bart.
He said a once a year event, several instructors, different disciplines. Like that part sounded like he was talking about the muster. And then he said at Fort Honey Badger in 3 days long. But Bart, you can come up here for the muster. Just saying, Sonny will be the headliner.
Yeah, the thing with Fort Honey Badger, I wouldn't mind having something like that. I don't have all the facilities necessary. I need to have indoor facilities. I need to have force on force place. I need to have all that arranged and ability to seat 100 or 200 people or whatnot. I really don't have it now, and if and when I'm going to have it, then maybe it's an option. At this point, again, I simply cannot facilitate such thing happening here. So,
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, and man, the amount of logistical work that I know Gary goes through throughout the year is significant to like put events like that together.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
I used to organize big seminars with my teachers, and some of them, were attended by 120, 130 people, man. And it's, prior to that, it's like you prepare for 6 months, you start putting things together, but last 3 weeks prior is pretty much
Dedicated. Yeah.
nonstop.
Yep.
Yep. And then, like all the moving parts we got going on this year, with the weekend before, Jay and Andrew are doing a joint patrolling the homestead
Mhm.
Yeah.
class on Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday is an off day for some of us. I know Sonny has a private thing on that Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sonny and I are doing the science of dynamic violence. Then Friday, Sonny and I are doing the crucible. Saturday is the muster. Sunday, Sonny's doing conflict management in Danville. And
Yep.
at the same time in Sugarloaf, Dave Biggers is starting 2 days of the red zone.
Mhm.
Oh, and on Friday, while we're at the crucible,
Oh, Jonathan's thing,
Jonathan
right?
Aldridge is doing a tactical medicine class down here in Bloomsburg.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. It's like Mike was saying, logistics to put it all together and make sure that everything is rolling. Especially if you yourself as organizer participating in something, it's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. I'd rather be a headliner than organize a festival. Let's put it this way.
Yep.
Yeah, you and me both.
Well, but here's the nice thing for you, Gary. You have your boss, your wife. She does one hell of a job on kind of behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff. So,
Oh yeah, if it weren't for her, well, the biggest thing she does is my psychological support.
Yeah.
When I am about to lose my shit, and then she's like, "No, I'll just take care of that," and
Yeah.
she calms me right back down.
yeah, and you have a decent support crew there as well, including Mike and including many other dudes that train with you there, and girls like Crystal. So it's cool. I mean, you can pull it off, and you've shown it now for a couple of years that you can pull it off, and it's I really want to try to cut down my travels as much as possible, but like the muster is one of the events now that during the year I'm kind of going like, you know what, I'm not gonna plan anything for that time frame because I enjoy it. It's cool when new people coming in. And it's cool for people to get a lot of different perspectives from dudes that basically step up. They say their piece and that's it, and you take it as it is.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, I enjoy it every year. I mean, I have like notebooks full of notes for the last 2 years of people who like things that I've learned, like medical stuff, all types of practical knowledge. Sonny's like sections in each book is practically like 8 pages each. Like it's a great time. Like just hearing all those minds together is there's very few opportunities like that.
Adam Hall says the mystery of the crucible has him hooked.
Mm.
I don't remember in my looking at the roster, which I looked at this morning. I don't remember seeing Adam's name on it. Adam, did you get an invite? I know there's a delay. You can type it whenever you want. If you did not, which I can't believe that I didn't send one, but it's possible. I will send you one when this live chat is over.
Oh, that's right. The Crucible is invite only, right?
Yes.
Or if people taking all 3 days, then they can sign up for Crucible.
Sure.
Yep. Then they kind of get an auto invite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he says he got the invite. Just saying, I'm just waiting on you, brother. I'm thinking, you all tell me what you think, that possibly the 2025 muster might be a 2-day affair.
I think that it has grown enough, Gary, that I think you should do it. And I think it's not just so much probably for inviting, double the amount of instructors presenting, but give a chance to have almost even like simultaneous weekend workshops happening. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like 2 hours in that room, 3 hours in that room. This guy's talking about that. That way, people can have a choice and kind of like,
Yep, they can a la carte what works for them.
yeah, it's kind of similar approach what they did in Self Reliance Festival, where you have a big tent where the big headliners present their shit and all that stuff, but you also have during the day couple smaller tents around the SOE compound where you have the guy talking about plants, where you have guy talking about medicine, where you guy talking about whatever. And you may have, 15, 20 people in that one while the headliner attracts 150. The point is that, it gives people a choice, and maybe not everybody wants to see this tool right here. You know what I mean? And they would rather talk about to the guys that talk about, I don't know, is Glock or XD better? Did I just say that?
Yeah, I think so. Does this flat dark earth match my Molly?
Yeah. Where can I get that Cry shirt?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, if you had stuff like that and where people talking about equipment and gear, and I'm not saying it's not important. And if it is specifically something that I may start getting interested in to explore and whatnot, I'll go and I'll listen to, let's say, Don talking about night vision, because my night vision knowledge is, 30 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if I'm not into that whole masturbation about this versus that, I have a choices to go to talk to somebody else. But there may be people who are really into it because they are looking for some gear questions. So whatever.
Agreed. So yeah, that's my agenda next year is the bumper up to 2 days, and
Maybe even invite people from like, I don't know, people that make your signature rifles. Maybe invite them to talk about how they do shit and why their shit is good. Because a lot of people, they go like, well, okay, Gary says to buy it because it's his design and all that stuff, but let them substantiate why their shit is good and why they do what they do. Then have, Iron Pick armor it, like Turtle talk about his stuff, or whatever the case might be, where people can go like, well, here's how our shit is different. Here's the amount of attention and labor and innovation we put into this. This is how it's different. A lot of dudes don't know that.
I like it. And Turtle will be there this year as an attendee. So, and he's got 4 days of you and me prior to that.
Cool. Well, he just did 5 days here with me for Fear Inoculum, and after doing 2 days in Florida. So
this would be like the home stretch, or like the hard part's over.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the hard part is over.
Well, we're gonna let him think the hard part's over.
See, here's the thing, because I teach so few Force on Force classes, most people don't know what I do in Force on Force classes, so I'm kind of a little excited about things that I'm going to do, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm excited too.
Me 3.
I think Mike volunteered to be the test example for every single block of instruction.
No problem, Mikey. No problem.
Yes.
You may not talk to me for 2 weeks after that, but that's okay. I can handle that.
Mike's thinking, I don't remember saying those words, but what he did say was, hey, I'll help you any way you need for that thing. Just tell me what to do.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yep. I mean, a part of what we do is just learning to embrace. Let me see if I can remember what last year's theme was for Sonny. Embrace the brutalization, right? Brutalize yourself.
Something
like if that's what I'm doing by jumping in and taking all the hits, okay.
Just accept yourself and tell others that it's okay to be masochist.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Sure is.
As long as it's consensual.
Yeah, I'll be a masochist all day for my friends. It's when I don't like somebody that's when it hurts.
True that.
It's almost a good pain when you can say, "Oh yeah, my friend beat me up."
Well, Mike broke my nose once, so
I did.
Nice.
Actually, technically, Gary broke his nose on me.
I like that.
That's how. I mean, I didn't move, and he arm dragged himself into my shoulder.
Gary,
So
why would you do that?
well,
Or that's just a cool story that Mike tells.
you know that whole thing about the unstoppable force and the immovable object.
Yeah.
They totally overestimated the unstoppable force portion, and underestimated the
Underestimate
immovable
the
object.
immovable. Yeah.
Yeah,
It happens. It
yeah,
happens.
that was before we were real tight. Like
Yep.
we were just starting to be friends back then with a few of the dudes that we're close with now, and yeah, it was Aaron's fight to live / full contact gunfighting class.
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a good time.
It was
Learned
a
a
good
ton.
time. Yeah, Mike, didn't you get like a broken rib out of that?
Yep, I sure did.
I didn't cause that though, so
No, I did.
you were fucking up a lot of people.
Yeah, well, you and me. Yeah, I did something stupid and rolled off a friend's back and right onto my ribs.
It happens. Shit happens. You know,
Yeah.
as long as you don't look at it yourself as a tragedy, it's just shit happens.
Yeah, no. And it was totally like one of those things where it's like, oh, that was a stupid moment. Don't do that. And I learned it, but I had to learn it the painful way.
Usually
I
best
missed most
lessons.
of it. I was looking the other way getting a drink. I turn around like, what the fuck happened to him?
Gary burned the meatloaf and I had to lay down the law. I mean, that would probably be a better story for why I broke his nose.
I did throw up a couple of links in there.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Physics is a bitch.
Like it, dislike it, it exists.
Willie Rodriguez has knocked himself out shooting in for a takedown. I actually did not think that Willie Rodriguez was capable of being knocked out. He has a head like a cement block. The cauliflower ear stuck on the side of it. I was just like, man, that's a tough motherfucker right there. Willie called me one day before class. I called him right after class started. And I was like, hey, Willie, are you coming to class today? I have you on my roster. Yeah. I said, you lost? You all right? You need directions? He goes, no. The police are just leaving.
That's
Police
a good
are
sign.
leaving from what? He's like, I wrecked the car, but as soon as they leave, I'm on my way. Willie, are you okay? Oh, yeah, not a problem. It's a rental. It'll be fine. I'm just going to be a few minutes late.
I like that guy. Cool.
Yeah, he's all right.
Willie's good people, and we don't see him nearly enough.
Nope. But since we were talking training, it does go into the two questions that were posted. Let me find them here. They're there. And the second question, I think, is more important than the first question, but you can't have the second one without the first one. So the question was, from our perspective, what is the next big thing in the training community?
I have an answer.
What we think is going to be a good thing or big thing, or what we would want to see as the next big thing.
So the second question was, what should the next big thing be? So it's a two-parter.
Two-part. Okay. Go ahead, Mikey.
So, okay, this is it's interesting because I just had a conversation about this recently, and both of those two questions align for me on this. So, Gary, you and I have had a ton of conversations about this similar topic with like our day zero classes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the creation of classes to help lower the barrier of entry for those without the confidence to go into 2-day classes. Tactical Response has just recently started doing that too, with like a intro to fighting pistol or intro to whatever. I've seen a couple other places start doing like intro classes to help break that down. So from an overall, like, this isn't necessarily a technique or a concept perspective, but from classes that help get new students in the door, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I'm starting to see, and I'm really excited about, because that's what's missing a lot from our industry is getting in like those new students, people that haven't felt the confidence to go train before.
Okay. And I think that's, I don't think, I have no complaints about that. Like, I can't pick that apart. That big path of the journey that we're all on, that path dries up if people don't get on it. So
Mhm.
I can see putting an emphasis on getting people to start on that path. The thing that I saw is the next big thing, or what I see, like what I initially, when I read the question, my thought was, oh, it's like the night vision helicopter class.
Sure, yeah.
And I went, well, I don't know if that's the next big thing, or it's just so unique that it gets a lot of traction on the interwebs. I don't really see a bunch of other people going to be jumping on that and doing it. But what I thought, as I thought more about it, what I see as the next big thing is more of a, isn't like, oh, it's all target focused now, or it's all red dot this, or none of that like trivial minutia stuff. I'm noticing more people putting together training events with multiple instructors, like the Muster Alumni Weekend, Willis's Self-Reliance
Festival.
But I've seen some other advertisements for people putting those together. I have a whole litany of reasons why I think that might be happening, but I see it happening more. So that's like a wave that I think is not reached its crescendo yet. Don't see a real problem with that either, obviously, because I do the same thing. So that's what I see as something that's blossoming. What about you, Sonny?
You know, I'm in kind of different place, Gary. And once we get to second part of the question, I'll address that issue. But as far as what I see, next big thing, I don't think it's going to be any specific big thing. What Mike was mentioning, that kind of like a new softer bridge to bring people in from just taking basic NRA, some kind of a licensing class, to actually bring them closer to training, somewhat closer to reality, because not everyone is, going to have the fortitude right away to sign up for, a 2-day class with a bunch of bearded fucking dudes wearing scary t-shirts and tattoos up to their neck. And talking about this gun and that gun, because a lot of those folks, they just don't know. They knew they are babies. They just stepped into this arena, right? And it can be intimidating. So I'm glad to see that people do that. I don't, and I'm not planning to do that, and I'll explain my reasons for that. But collaborative efforts, as Gary was saying, I think they're great. I think people get exposure. I don't know if they per se attract more outsiders to it, or is that people that are, like loyal to one school or one instructor or whatnot. They get to see different perspectives, and they actually get to see that, while it's a competitive market and all that, we don't have to be each other's throat. We can lift each other up.
Yep.
And I think it's great. I think it's great because it's not that hard to support other instructor to say, again, we don't teach the same thing. Does it mean that you don't have nothing to offer? No, it's not the case. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to students this past weekend, and I go like, if you become truly a good student, as you know, I'm writing a book, Don't Be a Shitty Student, right? And I said, if you truly become a good student, there is no shitty class.
Mm-hmm.
there can be no shitty class. It's the holy trinity. You have good instructor, you have to have good material, and you have to have good student. And majority of industry is not focused on having good students. We have consumers, and
Right.
we train them for years and years to be nothing but consumers. And I think I would hope that with this both collaborative effort and that bridging the gap with 1 day classes and that kind of thing, hopefully people hopefully people will start see in developing their own, you know, skill of being good students, and that will improve the whole fucking industry. That will improve the whole fucking industry.
Yep.
I couldn't agree
So,
more.
as far as any other like big new things, no, I think it's gonna continue with the twists. There's gonna be tactical bros doing the tactical bro stuff. There's gonna be people that are so stuck to their line of things, and there's always gonna be people because someone said don't have the red dots or don't have a flashlight on your pistol, and all of a sudden that guy is a FUD. You know what I mean? While he was being worshipped for the past 20 years, or whatever it takes to piss off the snowflakes.
Hmm.
And it's you know I really don't see any big shifts that our industry will become less snowflakey overall. What I do like seeing is that in our corner, our small corner of this industry, we are purifying snowflakes being cast away, and it's becoming more of a adult education for adults.
Hmm.
So if I see that in more corners happening to where, the bullshit of snowflakery is not being tolerated, and we just, without anger or whatnot, but you can tell people, you know what, fuck off, and when you're not a fuck up, come back.
Yeah.
We're, we'll have our arms open. It's okay. So that's that.
Perfect.
I love it.
Somebody mentioned that the surgical speed shooting summit was similar. Um, my host in Tennessee, Keith Tyler, he was up there for that and gave that glowing reviews as well. Uh, so yeah, uh, Josh DeWalt mentioned that. Uh, Actually, I didn't even hear about that until it was over. Like that's how secluded I am from the interwebs.
Mm. It's a
Or
double-edged sword.
it might have been like happening when I heard about it. I was like, hey, wait, what?
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Like, as much as we're always out there either teaching, training, learning, whatever, there is still so much more. Like, there is so many good classes, good trainers, good people teaching shit. I get more amazed every day by it. Like, because when you start, your circles are so small, and you're like, oh, well, everything revolves around X, and then it grows and it grows and it grows, and man, I've had, I, my circles have grown like exponentially over the last couple of years, and just seeing all of this awesome shit that I'm like, man, I wish I could figure out a way to just go around and learn from all these people all the time. That would be a great life. Uh, Impractical, but man, it would be great.
Yeah, now, since I hit 50, I guess this is my midlife crisis. I'm like, how am I? I'm never gonna get taught by all the people that I want to be taught by before I or they are dead. I'm like, that's just not.
Gary, here's the thing. I over the past year I spent significant amount of time not in person training with some people that I wanted to, maybe shoot some shit back and forth, but simply getting on the phone and spending 2-3 hours talking to folks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to separate levels or whatnot, but let's just say, as instructors, right? Uh, a lot of stuff that can be said in words and the way we present our ideas, we don't necessarily need to be there and do things 50 times to get what the other person is laying down. We can pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if dudes kind of got over a little bit their own vanity and kind of go like, well, I'm Sonny Puzikas, I'm not gonna call this guy to ask his opinion about that. chillax. It's okay. Yes, I'm Sonny Puzikas. I know certain things about certain things. There are things that I don't know shit about. Like if I have certain questions about AR, if I have certain questions about night vision training, if I have certain questions about long range shooting or whatnot, I shotgun. You know, I will go and I will ask people questions, and even from talking to them, I can get an idea because I've been around this rodeo for a long time.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that they kind of correspond and they kind of overlay each other. So that's that. And yeah, I realized I'm never going to be able to get with everybody that I would like to get with. But at the same time, I'm like, I also have a job to do. I have
Yeah.
to dig a hole where I'm digging my hole. And, my focus should be there instead of, oh, what else can I learn? I'm never going to be teaching, helicopter stuff. I'm never going to be teaching long range sniping stuff. I'm never going to be teaching shotgun class. For myself, if I have time and if I'm somewhere where someone is teaching it, yes. But just to add to my resume or whatnot, I'm not going to do it for resume. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll roll over to that second part of the question, Mike. What do you think the next big thing should be?
I mean, for me, it's getting more people in. Like, I think that's a really worthwhile and great endeavor for trainers to work on. And not every trainer wants to do it, which is totally fine. It's one of those things where, like, the elementary school teacher is just as important within the process of humanity as the graduate school teacher. Like, they have two different missions, but they're as important to the individual as both, like, throughout their journey. So, like, I think people emphasizing that and growing the community and welcoming people across different schools, exposing them to different ideas, I think the better we are as not only just a training community, but as a global community or a country. Because the more people that are exposed to the stuff that we do, the more, like, everybody I've seen that come around, they usually wind up being like really awesome people, and they get it, and they understand that there's this universal bond between like people who train, and it's not political, it's not ethical, it's not anything that you can really put your hand on, but they could see that there is a huge amount of generosity between the people that do this type of stuff. And man, once you get a taste of that, it's game on. Like, you can't get enough of it usually.
Well, so what you saw as something that's taking off is actually leading towards what you're looking
Yes,
to happen.
I really do. I really hope it grows, and that like a lot of trainers out there who like to specialize in more of the advanced stuff wind up opening up more to even, more what I call training naive, like as in unexposed to training students. I think they need it, or schools coming in and people coming in to help teach and be the bridge, where it's purposeful in terms of like, oh, I don't want to build a business where, like, I just control a student's progression from day 0 through day 999. Like, I think there's a lot of value in saying, hey, I'm really good at teaching new students, and that's what I love to do, and I'm going to bring them in, and they're going to get exposed to the larger world of training. And to Sonny's point, it's that kind of like, hey, we should really be encouraging people to really work together and promote other trainers, because it, like, the rising tide rises all ships. So I don't know, that's where I think things should be going, and I've seen some promising stuff, and I'm hopeful about it.
Right on. My take on what I would like to see be the next big thing is a shift in how students organize their training, in so much that, like, the traditionally what we see is an instructor, either where they're at, they pull a bunch of different people in to do some training, or they go somewhere and some guy is pulling a bunch of people in to have this visiting instructor, get some training for this, group. I would rather see the groups be together and then reach out and pull in some instructors.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important, as the world gets shittier, to build a community around you, like where you're at, And I would like to see students building that community and then saying things like, hey, let's call this instructor up who's real good at this thing that we don't have enough knowledge on, and let's get him to teach to our group. I don't know if that on a business model that would help us as instructors at all. If that's a moneymaker, but I think I would like to see students building that community without us instead of meeting and trying to piece together a community at class, like the exchanging phone numbers. Uh, Mind you, that's how a lot of training communities get built, but it doesn't seem like there's a next step until they. I would like to see more students building the community without the instructor and then pulling them in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I certainly cannot disagree with anything that you two guys said. I can't. And I'm in a strange place, dudes, where I really not to like become, like America first, what Sonny does first, but I'm gonna focus on specializing on the depth of what I do. I will always appreciate people pulling in new people, building shorter classes, and I just don't find myself in the place where I have the same kind of dedication, enthusiasm to doing that versus digging a deeper hole with dudes that already have become to a certain degree fanatics of training.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, well, some people will say, well, is this some kind of like a building exclusive club, exclusive community? You can say so, but it's not closed community. I mean, anyone can get in it. What I'm seeing is that, there are dudes that like doing and enjoy doing this. Then there are dudes that will do this once or twice a year because it's almost like get away from home, get away from wife type of shit.
Yep.
Then there are dudes that kind of like, we in this group and this is just what we do. Every month or so, we attend the class or we do this or that. And then there are individuals that gradually become addicts, fanatics. They are ISIS of training. They are the radicals. This is my crowd.
Yeah.
These are my people. This is what I want. I want dudes that will go like take me to the darkest, deepest places, and I have incredible amount of appreciation for that. And it's very selfish in that from that standpoint because that's the kind of student I was. To me, there was nothing more important than this. I was radical. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
was I was
Yep.
I was fucking fundamentalist, and I think this is my place to do that. You know what I mean? It's because I don't have that huge reach like some of the big name instructors do. I don't know how can I take my course and simplify it and make it to where hey come in at certain level maybe some hand to hand combatives yes, but when it comes to things to other stuff like more my force on force, my fear inoculum, my stuff that starts dwelling into psychology and emotional state and how all that interacts and how to become truly a good student. And I saw someone ask, what do you mean good student? Uh, that's another 6 hour conversation.
Yeah.
I wish I could answer it for you, sir, but it's a very long conversation. As a matter of fact, from the first muster, there is a video, I think, on my channel about not being a shitty student, so you may want to take a look at it. But yeah, I think, I think it's okay if not all of us do it all. We
Right.
have our own like specialized fields, right? Some people will enjoy very much because they're so good at teaching newer people stepping into it, where they, what I mean, they have welcoming personality. They have that charisma about them that doesn't push away some people where they go like, man, these people are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
We all have our own fucking role to play, and it's okay. None of them are more important than the others. They all make this what this is or what this should be.
Right.
We all have a place to play, just like wife has a place to play, husband has a place to play. You know what I mean? It's that's what makes thing whole. So
Yeah.
Yep. I we probably represent somewhere in there like a scale.
A spectrum.
Yep. Uh, I'm somewhere in between you and Mike. There's a reason that the Tremis Dynamics Day Zero class, uh, I've looked at the curriculum. Mike wrote it. Mike teaches it. Other than that one time he went on a cruise and left me to teach it, where I also then did not look at the curriculum. Uh, but it was based around like, hey, like Mike loves this. Mike thinks that we need more of this, and I was like, hey, man, run with it. We'll throw it up on the website, and I'll even show up if you want.
no,
But it's to your point, Sonny. We need all of it. Like if you're not there teaching like the advanced thinking concepts that you can only truly achieve once you have a basic level of not worrying about like the grip and the trigger press. Like once you get past that, you need somewhere to go. You need that someone that's digging that hole deeper so you can get in there with them. Um, and just to that point, you need somebody who's like, well, without students coming in, without people embracing and bringing that community together as a whole, there's no students to fill that pipeline. So it all has to work together. And
it does, and I think that all three stages, if we're gonna break it down in three stages, and I hate to say it, like basic, intermediate, advanced. No, it's not that. It's for people that are interested and want to get in. It's for people that are searching for their place, and then it's for people that found that this is where I want to fucking die.
right.
You know what I mean? And if the guy, let's say like me, who teaches people that are fucking, they commit for a lifetime of training. Like I have students that paid shit ton of money and they're lifetime students. Every class I ever teach, they in.
Yep.
You know, and well, guess what? A lot of those dudes came into training. Eventually, at some point they taken a basic course. Then they got this rifle class from there and from there and from there, and then they heard about this crazy shit, and they hear, you know what I mean? So for me, this is not breaking down into basic. These are three wheels of the fucking three-wheel cart.
Yep.
None of them can roll separately, because if we only do the basic stuff, you know, it's like music. You know what I mean? Music does not stop at the level of Britney Spears or Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? It doesn't even stop at the level of going into intricate heavy metal. It doesn't
Right.
even stop at the level of Tool, although that's separate conversation again to have. Right? But you know what I'm saying? I mean, all of that has to exist. It's like studies of everything, studies of theology. You can get into basic reading the Bible and Bible studies, or you can go to a freaking Mount Athos and sit there with the monks who are cave dwellers, and shit that you're gonna hear is probably gonna be for the
Yeah.
most folks, unless someone spent decades in studying that stuff and they go like, you know what, I'm ready to go deeper,
Mm-hmm.
right? But someone had to bring that person into a faith to show them a cross for the first time and go like, hey, there's this pretty cool book called Bible, check
Yeah.
this out.
And
There's
those guys that are the ones showing the crosses are the ones that are also the true believers too, going
eh,
around and that have said, "Hey, this is where I want to die. This is the life I want to live." So the evangelists, if you will, going out and telling the story of training, like
it's like this, man. It's even again going back to faith, right? It's every person of faith is a priest. Every person of faith is a priest because he says something and someone listens. And we are just important as the freaking pope or whatever else, patriarch or whatnot, because
mhm,
without our word, none of that, none of it progresses, none of it gets closer to the source, right?
right,
It's not to say that advanced training is the source of it all. No, advanced training is actually that it materialized as a result of me at some point getting into a freaking judo class because I wanted to do something that I saw on fucking TV. I came into this through basic steps. So did Gary. So did you, Mike. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
for us to disrespect and go like, "Oh, I'm not going to teach basic classes because it's bullshit." No, it's not bullshit. But I'm just going to freely admit that this is no longer my cup of tea.
Right.
You know, and that's it.
Yeah. Because we need both. We need all of it. We need all three wheels of the cart, as you will.
Our three-wheeled cart.
Our three-wheeled cart. I mean, Sonny used it. Like that was his example. So otherwise, it just becomes a two-wheeled game cart.
Nick Engeland, the question about the online opportunities for distance learning. You know, I was a big opponent of anything online, but I am slowly changing my mind because I think if material is presented proper, I think if material is explained well, and given one very important part, if the person who's receiving that material is in fact a good student, it can bear some fruit. Now, am I saying that without any hands on training, you're going to be just as good as the dude that comes here and trains twice a month? Probably not. You're going to have to do some hands on shit. Not probably not, guaranteed not. Guaranteed not. But I no longer bash online training as useless because, for one, for most people, that's the only resource that they may have for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you know, it's the amount of work that we as instructors put into our presentation of stuff that I think can have pretty significant value. I think it can have pretty damn significant value.
Agreed. Some subjects lend themselves better to distance learning, uh, but I've had this conversation with a number of instructor pals about how to put it together and make the product something that you know want to put your name on, that you want the student to go, I am glad I got this.
Yeah.
And my limited technical knowledge has left me in that quandary for some time now of everything that I picture in my head isn't good enough for what I want to deliver.
No, and it's not just technical. It's you got to have people around that's able to work even that same. If we're doing something online and shit like that, you got to have a cameraman that knows what the fuck he's doing in the context of what you're trying to put down.
Right.
If he doesn't know when to move that camera here and there, certain things will be lost, and it's no longer the same depth, the same quality, the same substance. So, assembling the teams like that of having maybe students who also know a little bit how to work camera, and you go like, hey, come have a class with me, but after the class we're doing 4 hours of some video work, right?
Yep.
That's one of those things that I think in our industry, not everybody has the same money that they can buy, freaking $40,000 cameras and hire movie camera dudes.
Yep.
Some dudes do, I don't. So, but that's not an excuse to put out the shitty material. We have to hustle. We have to look at how to do it and come up with our ways of doing it.
Right.
And what I think would be valuable in the instructor community, which I don't know if it will ever happen, is when people start to find, I'm going to say the shortcuts, but the recipe for getting a product, getting something that they're willing to stand behind and say this is good, sharing that with their colleagues. Hey, this is how I did this. This was how I found the cameraman. This is the online service I found where people can't pirate my shit, or whatever, at all the levels of it, to share that amongst each other. That would be crucially beneficial if someone finds that recipe, if they were willing to do so. However, I have seen the instructor community, and I don't necessarily believe that everybody would be on board with that.
No, but you know what, Gary? Do we need everyone to be on board? No, I need in our small corner, there's you, there's Jay, there's this guy, there's me, there's, whatever. So let's say 10 of us, right? Maybe one of us finds a way, hey, dudes, try this out. Here's what worked for me, right?
Yep.
It's in the small corners. It's not going to be this overarching overall community doing shit where, Pat Mac here and this big name there and Haley over there. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
it's competitive, and besides business competition, it became almost like personal competition, and it's kind of funny, but it is what it is.
Agreed. Agreed.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Did you lose power to something?
I did.
To the mic?
Yeah, I sure did.
Yes. We got the Holy Trinity.
But I
Everybody
caught
Yeah.
has mic problems.
it. And I think the band is finished downstairs. So
Well, we're probably close to being finished as well. We're at an hour and a half already. These
Time
usually
flies.
only last an hour, sometimes a little less.
I cherish my time talking to you guys. I enjoy it immensely whenever it happens.
Well, during the what do we got, like 10 straight days of training in August, you are more than welcome to participate in all of the after hours instructor shenanigans here at the librarium.
It'll be happening.
Oh, there will be shenanigans, all right.
I am sure. Last year it was great. I had Jay and Sonny both at the house for like a week. I was completely drugged up on opiates from the kidney stones and remember little pieces of it.
Yeah, you were. Thankfully, it happened after the muster.
Yes. Oh, fuck. I don't know how I'd have got through it if it had happened like the day before.
Yeah, that would have been rough.
We'd have found out how great of a wife I have. She'd have been the MC. Well, I would say that Jay, we'd have made room for Jay to actually have a presentation, but he could take my spot. I didn't have a spot either.
Yeah, there you go.
The good news is this year I just kept the same topic. Like I still have everything ready to go for the for how to get the most out of dry fire.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good topic. Great topic.
I think it'll be beneficial for folks. I wish I could sell something at it, but I don't really. Like turn it into
I might switch back to radio stuff this summer.
You can talk about whatever you want, man. I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so I think this has been half of the live chat has been promoting the muster, which is pretty good because I haven't really done a lot of promoting of it yet. And the other half, I think we got some decent questions about training. Any last thoughts you guys want to give those folks out there before we sign off for the evening?
Well, actually, I see the question here. What percentage of the dry fire you do? I cannot read because the thing is covering it.
What percentage of dry practice versus live fire do you recommend?
Okay, well, I'll give you my thoughts. So as far as firearms training, straight up firearms, not movement, not any other things. As far as your ratio of dry fire versus force on target versus force on force versus live fire, I would say that 70% is dry fire. I would say that 10 to 15% is force on target. And then if it's 15%, then I would say 10% is force on force and 5% is live fire.
I'm down with those numbers.
That's my numbers breakdown.
I did a little test last year, and I was going to do no live fire at all for a whole year. And I couldn't because, as it turns out, my job sometimes requires me to shoot. So I limited it as much as possible. And I had under 200 rounds of pistol shot and under 150 rounds of rifle shot last year. For live fire. I shot more ammo today than I did all in 2023.
Nice.
Testing two different guns out. And I did not see much of a degradation of skill by supplementing that with more dry practice than I had done ever. Certainly the manipulations, like the movement around structures with a rifle, got way better. I didn't think they sucked with a pistol before, but they certainly didn't get any worse because I did that every day. Every single day I moved around my own house with a rifle because I set up a rifle just to do that with. And every time I let the dogs out or went to take a leak or got a drink, I would manipulate it around stairwells and thresholds and et cetera, et cetera. So I certainly believe that the live fire portion does not need to be as big as most of the training community seems to focus on. I have some not altruistic suspicions about why that is the case. A story for another day.
Another 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, and Becker's going, Mar, shut the fuck up and don't tell them not to buy ammo.
No, we don't say that. We don't say that. They should buy from sources we recommend only,
Yes.
and then it's going to be all good. Becker, chill, brother.
And I do believe that the coupon code TREMIS will save you $10 off of any order $100 or more at Ammo Supply Warehouse.
And there you go. And I put Ammo Supply Warehouse link on my seminar announcements, Becker, so it is what it is. I don't want people to buy from shitty places. And I'm sorry, my students only shoot 200 or 250 rounds per class, but I do have one class coming up in November that I require them to bring 500.
Wow.
That's going to be the highest ammo count of my classes. It's not posted yet. You're going to like the name. It's going to be called Shooter Fighter Matrix 25 DP, Deep Penetration.
Ooh, ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
I have one that coming up in the fall, maybe November, looking for October, that we're calling Wolverine Warfare. It's very Red Dawn themed. I knew you would appreciate it.
Sure thing. The shittiest sci-fi movie ever.
It's a documentary, the best documentary I've ever watched.
This will never grow old.
All right. Did we actually have any closing thoughts for anyone? Oh,
no.
Sonny had a question. We hit that. Any other closing thoughts before we punch out of here for the night?
No, man. Just looking forward to the muster and getting the training in and seeing all these great minds come together.
Same here. Looking forward to the muster. Unfortunately, before muster, I have to go. Not unfortunately. I mean, I'm kind of busting balls here, but I got to go to California and teach a class in California, just about hour and a half north of San Francisco. But it's on private property in the wine country with great folks.
Nice.
So that's that. But yeah, final thoughts are just, folks, those of you who want to train, if you become a good student, trust me when I tell you, you're going to make us better instructors at delivering what we do. You will.
Agreed. My final thoughts would be go over to visit tremisdynamics.com. This is not a shameless plug. There's a spot that says resources. Click that, and there's or mouse over it, I guess, and the spot says known associates. And there's 3 sections to it. The middle section of known associates says instructors we recommend. And if you're listening to this podcast, go over to that section, find those instructors, and go listen to what they have to say wherever they have to say it. Preferably in a class, because I like to see that they can pay their rent and stuff. But you can probably find them all over the interwebs in things like this with podcasts or written articles, and listen to what they have to say, because I've gone through the trouble of vetting them all for you.
Speaking of Jay Gibson.
Yes, he is there. So in that, something I did for the instructors we recommend, all but one, because I forgot to grab the picture last time I saw him. It's a photo of me and that instructor at a class, because it was my way of saying, look, not only do I recommend them, not only am I the president, I'm a client too, or whatever the hair loss thing is.
Yeah.
Like, I am a student of these instructors as well. So if I'm putting my money there like that, I paid retail for some of those classes. And that's the highest compliment I give, is I don't pay retail for anything. And hello, sirs, Jay Gibson, who just popped into the comments there. He is prominently listed. It's an old picture. He and I were both thinner in that photo.
You actually both of you look almost attractive in that picture. If I was half gay, I would go like, can I get a number?
If we were half gay, we'd have made out in that photo.
I know, no shit, right? And then you would have bought Subaru together.
Lived in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, that's all I got. I don't have any close. Oh, that was my closing thought. So, with that, hopefully, I'll see everybody here next Wednesday for some. We'll do a wrap up of the master class and figure out something else to talk about. And if you can think of some sort of new special guest that you would like, shoot us a message on any one of the social medias. And if I know the person, I'll try to see if they're interested in coming on here and playing Sonny for the evening.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Thanks for having me, Gary. Appreciate that. Good to see you.
Anytime you want to come on.